There's controversy over the 30-day window for President Buhari to assent the Electoral Act amended bill, which many say might have elapsed last night. As at this moment, there is no official communication to the Parliament and Nigerians from the presidency on the fate of the much-anticipated bill. Now, both the Senate President, Ahmed Lawan, and Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, had at different times met with President Buhari over the bill and expressed confidence that he would assent to it. Now, the National Assembly had on November the 19th transmitted the bill to President Buhari for assent in line with a constitutional provision. While the political and civil society actors wait with bated breath for the president's action on the bill, it emerged last week that the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, had written a letter to President Buhari highlighting the problems with the inclusion of mandatory direct primaries in the Electoral Act amendment bill. And joining us on the news to discuss this is the Executive Director, Center for Credible Leadership and Citizens Awareness, Dr. Nwambu Gabriel. Good to have you join us, Dr. Gabriel.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. This bill has been fraught with controversy from the very beginning. We saw all the drama that surrounded the bill at the National Assembly. And now it is not just the civil society and people who are election observers who are waiting with bated breath. I think every Nigerian is waiting with bated breath to see how the president responds to this bill. But let me ask you, whilst we're not trying to preempt the action of the president, but what would it mean? What would be the implication if the president withdraws his assent to this bill?
Thank you once again. I want to state very clearly that at 12 a.m. today, that is midnight of Sunday, the timeline as stipulated by Section 58, subsection 4 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, that gives the president a time lag to either assent or decline assent, for any bill so forwarded to him had elapsed as it affects the electoral amendment bill. So the only option that is left right now is for the National Assembly to muzzle up a two-third majority. That is, if you move from Section 58, subsection 5 this time, to veto the power and then consent to it by themselves, and then they will pass it again once they get that two-third majority. But the irony is that I do not see the current 9th National Assembly do that, because the majority of the persons in control or in the hierarchy or those who are principal officers, as it were, in the National Assembly are in the same political party with Mr. President.
Though lawyers are arguing that just because yesterday was a Sunday, it does give the president one Monday, which is today, an official working day, to assent to the bill. But there is controversy surrounding that. We'll see whether the president assents or do not assent to this bill. But again, like I said earlier, there is so much controversy surrounding this bill. Initially, it was the issue around the electronic transmission of results. And then there were suggestions as of last week that the president is getting advice as to that the issues around the direct primaries might be problematic. Do you think that that's enough, that just because of the direct primaries, that's enough for the president not to assent to this bill?
Naturally, no. These are very trivial issues that should not affect the consent of Mr. President. I tell you something, the president has actually promised the international community that is going to ensure that his proper and effective electoral reforms as one of the gifts he's going to give to Nigerians even before he leaves office. Some of us who believes in Mr. President, President Muhammadu Buhari, we believe in him so much. We still believe that it is not yet too late, that he can stimulate action immediately and do it even today. But what we are saying essentially is that Mr. President has promised Nigerians. He has, he swore to protect, and this is what the masses want. If you are talking about the electronic transmission, INEC, which is the electoral umpire, had invited all the service provided in a committee set up by INEC, and all the service provided did tell INEC in a meeting, convoked by INEC, that they can transmit results earlier before this time. INEC has already also met the relevant agencies, and they were very sure that electronic transmission of results is something that will be done. The National Assembly also invited INEC, and INEC unequivocally stated it very clearly that transmission of results is something that could be done. Mr. President even communicated INEC also to seek their consent about this electronic transmission. INEC stated and restated very clearly that they can transmit electronically across the entire 774 local government areas in Nigeria.
So Mr. Nwambu,
somebody still say that Mr. President cannot consent to this very laudable, this very good innovation initiated
Dr.
by
Nwambu,
INEC.
if I may just jump in here.
Very clear. It's becoming clear in Nigeria. The problem we have in Nigeria is not with INEC. You see, INEC is consistently making positive effort to ensure we have transparent,
Dr. Gabriel, just allow me quickly jump in here, because let's assume we do not understand, we do not know what's going to happen eventually. But if we have a scenario where the president do not assent to this bill, and then the National Assembly do not have the required 2/3 to override the president, where does that leave us ahead the 2023 election?
Yeah, thank you so much again. It means that for 2023 general elections, we expect to see, once this bill is not assented to, or the National Assembly do not get the requisite 2/3 majority as provided by Section 58, subsection 5, as required by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, it means that in 2023, we do not expect anything different. We are going to expect the same drama that keep playing. It means we are going to be expecting politicians snatching ballot boxes. It means we are still going to expect a massive rigging of election results. It means we are still going to expect a thuggery of the highest order, shooting and maiming of people by some very few desperate politicians for their selfish aim. So if we do not get it right this time, I do not see when the best time for the country to do it right. I think the necessary thing for us to do as a nation now is to ensure that this bill is signed or sees the light of the day. And that is the way to go. The world is a global village, and the world is leaving Nigeria behind. We cannot consistently be claiming to be the giant of Africa, whereas we keep mutilating our integrity by ourselves. In fact, I see that we are the greatest enemy. Nigerians are the greatest enemy we have.
Absolutely.
Because there are very few persons, very few political elites who keep giving the president very negative advice.
I'm sorry, I had to jump in because of my time.
The man has not even consented to this up to this time.
I'm told I'm out of time, Dr. Gabriel. I apologize that I had to cut you. We will see how the president assents to this. There's controversy over the deadline. We'll see how it goes. Thank you so much for talking to us as always. Executive Director, Center for Credible Leadership and Citizens Awareness, Dr. Nwambu Gabriel.
Thanks for having me.